This is the story of the fair forest. Once upon a time, there was a forest full of animals. Bear and deer, birds and bees, they all got along pretty well together, all living in different places and doing different things. Well, one day, Bear was down by the creek trying to catch some fish, and he happened to look up, and he saw a mulberry tree full of ripe mulberries. Now, he couldn't reach them or climb out to them, and he happened to see Bird way up high in the branches eating those mulberries. So Bear, he called up to Bird and he said, "Hey Bird, I want some mulberries too. Pass some down for me." Now Bird paused what he was doing, looked down and said, "Nah," and he kept on eating. Now Bear at first thought, "Oh, well, maybe I just didn't ask nicely enough. I didn't ask the right way." So he tried again. He said, "Please, Bird, I'm ever so hungry. Might you pass down a few mulberries for me?" Well, Bird paused what he was doing. He looked down. He said, "Nah," and he kept on eating. Bear was furious. So the next day, Bear called all of the animals in the forest together, had a big old meeting, and he said, "You guys, this forest is becoming unfair. It used to be a nice place, but now some animals are getting all of the best fruit and others are getting nothing. That is not fair. We need to make this forest fair again." The animals all nodded in agreement. It sounded really good. Bear went on, "You know, I'm the biggest. Should put me in charge. I can make things fair for everybody." And so the animals agreed. They put Bear in charge of making things fair. Now, Bear's first order of business was to make sure that everybody got the same amount of mulberries. Now, he obviously couldn't pick them himself, so he had Bird do it. Bird worked all day long picking mulberries and putting them in baskets. At the end of the day, there were dozens and dozens of baskets filled, and each basket had 10 mulberries. Well, when Turtle got his 10 mulberries, he was so excited. Turtle loved mulberries and had never gotten so many before. When Bear got his 10 mulberries, they all fit into the palm of his hand, and he ate them in one bite. And Bear, he kind of wished that he could have had more mulberries. When Snake got his 10 mulberries, Snake looked at them and he said, "Ew, gross. I am not eating those." And Snake just slithered away. So in the end, a lot of mulberries got wasted. But it sure was fair. And Bear was so excited he had made things fair for everybody. He decided he wanted to make more things fair. He wanted to make everything fair. So the next order of business was the housing situation. Now, Bear noticed that some animals lived in really, really big homes, like himself, and some animals lived in small homes. Some were up high, some were down low. It was not fair at all, not fair to Bear. And so Bear decided everybody should have a fair house. Well, he didn't just want to force everybody to live in the home of his choosing. That wouldn't be so nice. So he decided that they would have a vote to see which house would be the appropriate one. All of the animals got together and they cast their ballot, and in the end they all voted for what they wanted, their own home. So Turtle voted to live under a log, and Owl voted to live up high in a hollow part of the tree, and Bear voted to live in the den. You get the idea. Well, in the end, one home got more votes than all the others, and that was a nest. There were a lot of birds in this forest. So it was decided that all of the animals would live in nests. So they all worked hard together, building nests high up in the trees. And finally, it was move-in day. They were all done. Bear came to move in, and he got into his nest, and it was a little small, and it cracked when he sat in it. And poor Turtle, when they carried Turtle up to put Turtle into his nest, Turtle had never been off of the ground before in his life. He was deathly afraid of heights. He was shaking, going, "Oh my gosh, you guys, I don't know, it's too high, I'm so scared, I'm so scared." And when Turtle tried to crawl down out of the tree, he just slipped off and fell on his back. You know, some of these animals were getting a little frustrated with this fairness. But Bear, he just wanted to make everything fair for everybody. So he kept on going. The next thing he noticed that was unfair was that some animals got to swim around all day while other animals were working hard, climbing trees, foraging for food. That was not fair to Bear. So Bear decided that he was going to make those fish climb trees. I know. Unfortunately for Bear, he couldn't catch them, so he decided to do the next best thing. He decided to make the other animals swim like the fish, so at least that way it would be fair. So Bear went and caught Deer, and he pushed her into the pond. Woo-wee! Deer did not like that. The water was cold. She doggy paddled her way out. She said, "Bear, I have had enough of this fairness. I am leaving this fair forest. Who's with me?" And by this point, all the other animals had pretty much had enough of the fairness as well. And they left with Deer and they went to a new forest. And they called it the unfair forest. And in that unfair forest, all of the animals ended up getting different things. Bird ended up eating most of the mulberries. And Turtle, he had to eat dandelions instead. But Turtle, he got to live under a log just like he wanted, and he was okay with that. And in this unfair forest, these animals, they lived happily ever after. The end. Oh, and Bear, he ended up joining them in the unfair forest because it got kind of boring by himself trying to control everything. So, yeah, it was all good. All right, you guys. Peace.